You have her ID?
Yeah.
You're under arrest for your cell phone.
No, I don't want to give it to you. Why do I have to?
Because my attorney said not to.
Why do I have to give it to you?
This is evidence.
Evidence.
She's under arrest.
I have to go with. I have to go. I have to look
You don't have that choice.
Let me help you out.
No, I have to stay. Please don't do this.
Don't stay. You need to grab the bags. Take the bags.
Yeah, and you need to wait outside. Okay.
My husband's almost 80 years old. He can't
Yeah,
come
I
with
can't. Please, can I go?
No, you can't join me there.
Oh, don't do this, please.
me. Please.
Oh,
Someone's got
God.
to help him get home. This is terrible. You can't do this. This is insane.
You can hold on to that for me.
Is that okay with you?
Please. You don't have that with handcuffs on. She's not going anywhere. Please. Please.
You have anything in your pocket?
No, no.
Do you have anything of value in you?
No, I
Plus, you have a necklace on. You
Wanna
can
go?
take the
My-
necklace
I'll
off.
take
Yeah, take it off. Yeah.
And the earrings.
And the earrings.
You are listening to the Roberta Glass True Crime Report, putting the true back in true crime. From New York City, Roberta Glass is now on the record. Okay, how is everybody? Hello, Debbie Martin. Hello, Claudia Tricks. Are for kids. Walk away, Renee, your latex spouse. Taterbug. Thought I saw Maestro around. Thank you all for moderating. This, I feel like I feel like Donna Adelson, Donna Adelson herself. Here we go again with Donna Adelson. Boy, have things gotten crazy since we last talked about this case. If you're not familiar with this case, this is, of course, we're talking about the murder for hire of Dan Markel. So Wendy Adelson was married to Dan Markel. They got divorced and they were working out their divorce agreement. It was very acrimonious. They had 2 boys. Wendy still does have 2 boys. And somewhere along the line, the Adelson clan, at least Charlie Adelson, it's been determined by a jury, and it's been alleged with the help of Donna Adelson, paid for Dan Markel to be murdered, and he was murdered in his driveway. So this is what we're talking about today. So when we talk about this case, Wendy Adelson is still a unindicted co-conspirator in this case. There's been talks about whether she will be arrested after if there's a conviction in Donna Adelson's trial, but her brother and Donna Adelson's son, Charlie Adelson, has already been convicted and is serving a life term. We're having trouble streaming to Facebook. I think I have 1 viewer on Facebook, so it's not a heartbreak for me. I don't think anybody watches my stream on Facebook. You're welcome to watch it there. I don't happen to do a lot with Facebook, although I do have a Facebook group, the Georgia Kappelman, who's the prosecutor in this case, Appreciation Society, if you want to join that Facebook group. So this is what we're talking about, a murder that happened on July 18th, 2014. So I think, I was thinking about that Wendy has really profited from the fact that there's been so many delays in Donna's case. There was really such good momentum. The trial watchers were really all sort of united in putting pressure on Tallahassee. So this all happened in Tallahassee, Florida, to arrest Donna Adelson, at least after, to arrest Wendy Adelson, at least after Donna's trial. I'm getting all mixed up today. So Donna Adelson, you saw her in the opening. She's 75 and in jail for facing a life sentence for murder. Even if she got convicted, something less. Doing 15, you're talking 20 years is a life sentence pretty much at this age. Really unusual to see a grandmother on trial. And when she went in, she looked like a society lady, and now she's looking like a hardened criminal. So last time we were talking about this case, we were talking about her prison snitches. And Donna Adelson testified that she had 2 prison snitches who told her that Katie Magbanua, who I left out, who was the middle woman in this case, who was Charlie Adelson's ex-girlfriend. She's doing life. Her appeal just got denied. I think we all knew it was going to go that way. But Katie was also, or as she was known as Kay in Leon County, she was also in Leon County Jail. So Donna Adelson got 2 prison snitches, Cassidy Conroy and Brittany Purcell, to say that Katie Magbanua, the middle woman in this murder for hire, had made so many statements about setting up the Adelson family. What I found interesting, and I don't know why this didn't occur to me at the time, isn't it interesting that she didn't say in particular who she was targeting in the Adelson family? That neither one of these prison snitches, and I'm going to go over their statements in a second, but said, notice they didn't target Wendy Adelson, who's the one who benefited the most from this murder. She was the one in the contentious divorce. Now, we know, if you've been studying this case, that this family is so enmeshed. Everyone but the oldest son, Robert Adelson. And there's some news, I'm going to get to that in another episode, about some damning things. If he testifies in Donna Adelson's trial, he will be the most explosive witness, bar none, I think. First of all, it's just dramatic to have a son testifying against his mother. That's dramatic. But I'm curious, just the few things he said on the podcast, Over My Dead Body podcast, were so telling that this family wasn't interested in knowing who had all murdered Dan Markel. He was so interested in knowing who murdered his former brother-in-law, and the family had no interest at all, because of course they knew, because they looked in the mirror and they saw who did it every day. And I don't think Harvey, Donna's husband, they're still married, he's been at least one of her hearings, I don't think he will ever be convicted. He clearly knew, he clearly was involved, in my view, but I don't think there's enough evidence to convict him. Just my view. I know other people differ on that, but here are some of the statements. I'm just going to take down the comments for a section so you can see. So that's Cassidy Conroy, who was in prison, on the bottom right of your screen. She said, "Wait until I come back." This is Katie Magbanua speaking, according through Donna Adelson. "I'm going to take care of that family. Wait until they see what they're going to get, and I'm going to get a reduced sentence." Of course, Catherine Magbanua will definitely testify in Donna Adelson's trial. She was one of the most strongest witnesses. I knew she would be. Everyone else said, oh no, convicted woman, middle woman for murder. She's not going to stand up to cross-examination. I knew she was going to be strong, and she was strong in Charlie Adelson's trial. So she's a damning witness. So Donna's trying to neutralize her and say, and essentially get her free. So when these statements came out, hold on, I'm going to get to the second one. She said, this is through Brittany Purcell. You can see her picture on the bottom. She said, had her plan worked, she would not be where she is. She would be sitting pretty in Hawaii drinking a fancy drink. So fancy is a favorite word of the Adelson family. They put out a press release that said that any news stories or gossip blaming the Adelson family for the murder of Dan Markel was just fanciful fiction. All this sounds like it came right out of Donna's mouth and her imagination. She's a terrible dialogue writer. Every time she writes dialogue, it turns out unbelievable. She really needs to get a script writer. So these two, so we were all wondering, were these two paid off? These two were in her art class. She made it very clear she was blackmailing Charlie, my son. Didn't say how. Again, from Brittany Purcell. I guess I should have been prepared. And then we have that psychopath stutter. I didn't know. I didn't know I was going to be asked. I'm just a little nervous right now. But she spoke about a tattoo that Catherine Magbanua had, or Kay had, a tattoo her child's father had of her with a machine gun. So what does that mean? What does that mean? Are we now going to get prosecuted for our tattoos? I guess she wants to paint her as a dangerous criminal. Clearly, they were all a novice, or they would all be. Certainly, Catherine Magbanua and Charlie Adelson were caught talking about the murder after the fact on a wiretap. So clearly, they weren't hardened criminals and were novices. So we were all wondering about these prison snitches and if Donna was paying them. Now comes the news that indeed there is another prison snitch working for the prosecution, it sounds like, also from the art class. Drina Bernhardt. Let me just show you her picture. There she is. So Cassidy Conroy and Brittany Purcell just had been in Leon County quite a few times. This woman had been in for burglary, no weapon. The residence was empty at the time. I mean, there were no people there when she burglared it. So her name is Drina Zeta Bernhardt. And there are tapes of her talking to Harvey Adelson. And what the what the state of Tallahassee is alleging is that Donna Adelson was using her calls with her lawyers as a way to shield these kind of financial interactions. She was paying people to be witnesses in her case. That is what the state is alleging. So what we all knew was true is true, according, or may be true. Let's just put it that way. A jury's going to have to decide. Also, speaking of the jury, a lot of news, guys. News heavy day for this case. I have not caught up with this case in a long time. Donna Adelson tried to get Judge Everett thrown out off of it unsuccessfully, but she is trying to get it moved. And she does have an expert from Australia, it looks like, or his business is from Australia. I'm not sure where he's from. TrueScope. So here's TrueScope, her expert. And her expert's name is Todd Murphy. Here's a little idea of what they do. Here's their video.
In today's fast-paced digital world, navigating vast amounts of media data is essential for.
So basically what they do is they gather articles, all the articles written, and they said Donna Adelson's had this many articles written about her. Seems kind of old-fashioned because basically YouTube is littered. I don't know if they include YouTube, but they say that it's poisoned the jury pool in Tallahassee and they want to have it moved. Judge Everett is considering it. I don't think it's going to fly. And here's why. Even though Charlie Adelson, it was a smaller case with Charlie Adelson, I think it's going to be hard to say that Charlie Adelson had a fair trial in Tallahassee and Donna Adelson won't. Let me know what you think. Curious to hear your opinion. I always learn so much from you guys. Let me know what you think.
Professional communicators. TrueScope, an integrated media intelligence service, provides you with accurate, comprehensive, and highly relevant insights in real time, empowering you to stay confidently ahead of the curve and make well-informed business decisions.
So basically, it's a media. It gathers. This is what all the media about a certain story for you. That's what I got from it. Todd Murphy is backing Donna and saying that the case is too publicized. But there's a curious part. Do you remember also, Donna has also been moved to a different jail? To Wakulla County Jail. I don't think she knew how good she had it probably in Leon County. I think she's probably regretting that. But she was saying that her access to a pad, meaning a tablet, was, and she couldn't talk to her lawyers because she couldn't access her tablet enough. This was one of many complaints that Donna made. She wanted to be let out in this hearing. Do you guys remember this hearing? She wanted to be let out of prison because her health was failing on bond before trial. Her health was failing all sorts of ways that Leon County couldn't accommodate her for, though it sounded like they were so accommodating. She had a special mattress. Her breathing wasn't good. She's gained a third of her weight. They don't have keto in jail. So many issues. And this is really going to be Donna's downfall, is her arrogance. So I hate to break it to Donna, but no matter where she goes, no jury's going to like her. She's so arrogant. And I know a lot of her props of looking like a society lady, she's starting to look more and more like a hardened criminal the longer she is in jail. And it's interesting to me because it looks like the inside is finally matching the outside. She's always had a criminal mind. She's always liked to beat the system and felt that she was above the law. And I think I've always said that she would do well in prison, and she seems to have done well in jail, excuse me. So here she is complaining about Leon County in this hearing. But there's one part of this hearing that rang true to me, and we'll go over it.
There's even if you want to get off your bed and just try to do stretches or wall push-ups or anything, she says, this is not an exercise room. There's no exercising here. We don't get taken out.
No, she did not ask for a keto diet. That's my own joke. No. But she said the food is very carb heavy. They don't get exercise enough. They can only walk in circles. They don't have proper medical supplies. She had a lot of complaints.
Outside.
Let me stop you. One of these issues at a time. So with respect to the time period when you've been in the annex, which was from...
Forgot about this. So she has this breathing thing. So she reminds herself that she has breathing troubles and that she's upset. So she does this fake breathing thing that Wendy Adelson did in her police interview, the only time she's talking to the police, afterwards she hightailed it out of there. She talked to them and she said, am I arrested? Kept saying, am I arrested? I understand why I'm a suspect. Like, any policeman's alarm should have been going off. But here, so Wendy would do this kind of fake upset breathing thing, but then she would talk with this full, strong voice. So when you're really upset and crying, your breath gets uneven and gets hard to talk. So it's hard to even bring in breath to talk. But Wendy's voice was always fully supported. Here, Wendy reminds herself occasionally in this testimony, this is the longest we've ever heard Donna talk. I'm not going to play all of it, but I will play some of it. This is the longest we've heard Donna talk, besides the wiretaps and the phone call and the jail phone calls from Charlie.
From August of 24 until recently, February of 2025. Was it your understanding you're supposed to be taken outside a certain number of times?
Well, the inmate handbook says you get a minimum of 3 hours of outside time per day, per week, per week.
Okay, and during your time in the annex, did you experience?
See where she corrected herself? She's really concentrating on trying to affect this lack of breath. And then she corrects herself, and then there's full breath. A week, sorry, a week.
A week where you got 3 hours of time outside.
We haven't gotten 3 hours in 6 months.
Okay. How many times did you go outside while you were in the annex?
Before you continue, Mrs. Adelson,
Yes.
we have 30 minutes left in the hearing. Ms. Fulford, I understand your client is disputing the adequacy of the care. We do need to move to the most pertinent matters. Please continue.
Okay, we're going to move off of that then. I do want to talk to you then about some physical issues that have taken place in the jail. The first one I want to talk about is an incident that took place in the shower, and we're going to do this one briefly. I'm sorry, how much time did you say we had, Judge?
30 more minutes.
Including argument?
Not including argument.
Okay, all right. The first incident that took place in the shower, could you just briefly describe to the judge what happened there?
Yeah, so I always, there's 7 shower heads, but I always take the same one because it's off in a corner, so I have a little bit more privacy than you'd have at the other ones. And so I would always shower there, and I was under the shower and I was washing my hair, and I was the only one in the shower. I always go in early morning.
What did she mean she would always shower there? At this time, she was going back to Leon County. So does this mean after this altercation, she stopped showering there? Because of this, this, I don't entirely believe, but I'll tell you the part I do believe.
And because there's nobody there, most of the girls sleep. So I take a shower and I have a little privacy. And so I was washing my hair, and all of a sudden I felt a hand go up my back, like from the top of my butt, up my back. And I yelled, "Stop it!" And I turned, and this girl said, "You like it?" And I said, "Get out of here!" And I started to scream, and she ran.
Okay. In the bathroom there, what was this? Which pod was this in?
This is in the annex.
In the annex. Okay. In the annex, are there guards positioned inside the area where you shower?
No,
Inside the area where you use the restroom?
no.
Okay. All right. The next thing I want to talk about is what transpired in October of, thank you, October of 2024, where you had said previously you were attacked. What were you doing? Where were you at, first of all, when that took place?
In October. So I was in the bathroom. It's 10:30 at night. I went in to brush my teeth.
Okay.
There are 3.
All I can hear is her advice to Wendy. You can be a great actress actress when you want to be, Wendy. She said this in a letter to Wendy, your daughter, Wendy Adelson, concerning her divorce and different ways to torture Dan Markel before they decided to kill him, in my opinion. And I think, according to the jury's opinion with Charlie, just hasn't been proven, Donna, yet. But this just, to me, looks like acting. I don't know about you guys. Let me know if you feel anything listening to this.
3 sink stations in the bathroom. Each one has 4 sinks. And I was at the center station with my back to the door. And I'm a righty, so I was holding my toothbrush with my right hand. And I was balancing myself with my left hand on the sink.
I find that very interesting. Now, I'm left-handed, so I'm very aware, because I'm a minority, about people being right-handed or left-handed. But I rarely hear people say, well, I'm a right-handed, because most of the world is. So it's curious. I just find that interesting. I wonder if she has left-handed people in her family.
I was just brushing my teeth. That's all I was doing.
And what happened?
And someone came up behind me and pulled my left hand away.
Who's left-handed? Do you know? Trix? I'm a righty, right? I never hear that. My boyfriend's a righty. My whole family is right-handed except for me. So I never hear them mention that.
From the sink and twisted my arm and like jerked it behind my back, like reaching up toward my neck.
Okay.
And
did it hurt?
Yeah, it hurt.
Okay. What happened?
It hurt. And I said, what are you doing? And she's, in the same breath that she did that with my arm, she said, you're going to buy me commissary. I said, I'm going to what? And she said, unless you want those pretty white teeth knocked out of your mouth, you're going to buy me commissary. So I said, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this. I don't know. I know some people believe it. I have a hard time believing this. I'm not saying she wouldn't be extorted. I just have a hard time believing this story. But okay.
And then she named a package that she wanted, and she's out. She was gone. She just that fast.
Okay. How bad would you, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad would you rate the pain at the time that she did that to you?
Oh my God, it was a 10.
Okay.
I didn't know my arm could reach that far back.
Okay. And what did you do after she did that to you?
So, kind of stood there for a minute, and then I just thought, okay, I'm gonna go back to my bunk. And I went back to my bunk and got under the covers, and I cried. I just stayed under my covers. I didn't come out.
Okay. During your entire time in the annex, did this particular inmate remain confined?
I do believe that she's been under her covers crying in jail. I do believe. I think she's a smart liar. The Adelson family are smart. I think she's mixing some real things within some fake things. And I think she has, I think she has cried under her covers. And there's another part of this story I'll tell you about that I think is true, but under another circumstance.
Confined in that area with you?
She was in the annex the whole time.
Okay. And I know that you don't want to talk about who did this to you, because why? Why don't you want to disclose who it was?
Because one thing I've learned since I'm there is you don't, the word is snitch, you don't snitch, you don't tell on anyone because you'll be sorry you did. And I've seen that. And so I didn't even tell you for a while. I wasn't going to tell anybody. I didn't want to tell anybody. I didn't want, she's a big woman, and I was afraid of her.
Okay.
This isn't Donna's style. Donna is very resourceful. Does anybody remember Donna's plans before she left? Here we go. Let me see if I still have it here. But she had like all these lists of things to do and get this person to do that thing. She was writing down everything that Charlie said to her on the phone. Luis Rivera even said it could have been extortion. Do you remember that? That was the best part of the defense cross. If she's involved and Charlie's involved, if she's involved and Charlie's involved, then Charlie's involved. Home phone number was rarely called. It's about Catherine Magbanua. Saw the most graphic photos of their lives on the big screen in closing. This is all from conversations with Charlie. But remember when she was getting ready to flee from Vietnam, or according to her, I just don't think this is going to fly in a trial, that she was just wanting to clear her head and get out. Clear her head. This is the first time we heard that defense. Her lawyer, Jackie Fulford, is a former, one half of her legal team, Jackie Fulford, is a former judge who got in trouble for making deals and thrown off the bench. So she's a fraudster. I mean, they must get along like a house on fire. Just basically two criminals.
Ultimately, how tall would you say she is compared to you?
She's over 6 feet,
Okay.
over 200 pounds. She's
Okay.
a very large woman.
Okay. Were you afraid of her?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I was after that.
Okay. And you said that she demanded that you were going to start getting her weekly commissary. Did you do that?
Yes.
Okay. Let me, can I have just one moment, Judge?
Go ahead.
With a one-way ticket, or one-way ticket to Vietnam, and she's looking up non-extradition countries, so countries without an extradition treaty. She got her eyes glassy, but I didn't see any real tears. Did you? She's wiping away her imaginary tears here. I mean, it all looks like bad acting to me. I mean, couldn't you just pull up a sense memory? I mean, this will tell you. I mean, this is a family. I mean, so much of this story is about, what I'm asking is, couldn't you pull up a sense memory of missing your grandkids or missing your daughter? I mean, Wendy, it sounds like, doesn't talk to them. And when they confront her, she says, well, my lawyer says you can't talk about the case. It doesn't mean you can't have a relationship with your mother or support your mother. I mean, she sounds like she's completely cut off strings, and then that's strings to her grandchildren. Doesn't seem like Wendy is too involved here anymore. She saved herself. And it seems like that's the values that Donna and Harvey instilled in their kids. Look out for number one. And boy, did it come out to bite them. And so much of this case is about the wrong values and status and how much money you can make. And she's completely remorseless. And I try to look at this case from the other side as much as I can now, just to challenge myself. And even if Dan Markel was, say, the most arrogant, really just difficult to deal with, and lawyers can be difficult, let's not forget that, to deal with. How do you get to the point where you decide that murder is the best way, the best option? First, they tried to bribe him, and that didn't work. And I know a little bit about that, but I can't really go into it. I've been sworn to secrecy. But they not because they didn't want to, but they decided not to bribe Dan Markel. So they went with that to move. So the whole issue is they wanted Dan Markel to move to Miami, where from Tallahassee to Miami and get a different job, and they could co-parent there so Wendy could be closer to her mother and her mother could help with the kids. They were tired of flying down or driving down to Tallahassee or having Wendy fly up. But even if, I mean, how do you get to the point where you decide that murder is the best way to rob your grandchildren and children of a father that they won't be just irreparably damaged for the rest of their life, that they won't miss their father for the rest of their life? And they were already poisoning. They were already trying. Grandma, the kids would say things like, "Grandma says you're stupid" to Dan Markel. So she was already poisoning the kids against their own father. So I guess they figured once they were successful at that, they wouldn't miss him. I don't know. It's wild.
Your Honor, in order to move this along a little more promptly, I've requested of the state, and they have no objection. At this time, I'm going to offer into evidence State's Exhibit number 3. I'm sorry, I said state by mistake. Defense Exhibit number 3, Defense Exhibit number 4, and Defense Exhibit number 5.
No objection, Ms. Dugan.
No. May I
They are
approach?
admitted. Thank you.
You can just watch this uneven breath come and go. Do you see how when the exhibits, she was moving on in exhibits? Do you just see that little move with Donna where she moved her head a little and the breath stopped from here? Let's check this
Yeah, I'm
out.
sorry, I said state by mistake. Defense Exhibit number 3, Defense Exhibit number 4, and Defense Exhibit number 5.
No objection, Ms. Dugan.
May I
They are
approach?
admitted.
She thinks now trembling or trying to tremble. I guess you can't tremble and do the uneven breath thing at the same time. Fake a tremble. It's hard to do all these things at the same time, to juggle all these fake symptoms.
Thank you.
Ms. Adelson, prior to ordering commissary for this woman who attacked you, were you getting commissary for yourself?
Did you guys just see it? Did you just see Donna take a very even, long, deep breath there?
So I have an account, and you can buy up to $40 a week of food. And so I use that account to buy food, but not what she wanted. She wanted packages.
Okay, let's make sure the court understands. When you say buy food, is there normal commissary through the jail where you were getting your commissary?
Yes,
Okay, and that's what you were spending $40 a week on for yourself?
more, yes.
Okay, and what kind of items are you buying for yourself off of that?
I try to get some protein. I buy tuna fish with mayonnaise and,
Substitute meals, if you will?
yes,
Okay, no noodles of any kind?
no.
Okay, all right. Now, is there a separate way that you can order commissary on the outside for inmates?
Yeah, I
Okay.
can't do that. It would have to be ordered from somebody. You have to ask somebody on the outside to place the order.
Okay, and when you referred to packages, is that the method that the woman who attacked you said she wanted you to get for
That's
her?
what she asked me to get her. Yes.
Okay, and these packages cost about $40 each, is that correct?
40 and then $10 for packaging or shipping. So it's $50 a package.
Okay, and during the course of your time in the annex, while you were still in the annex, on just about every week, did she continue to find you in the bathroom and demand what packages that you would get ordered for her?
Yes.
And-
She must have been keeping an eye on me, but when I was in the bath, those are the only times she would approach me is in the bathroom, and she would tell me what she wanted for that week.
And did you make those orders through your husband?
I called my husband. I didn't tell him what happened. I just called him and said, honey, I want some extra food. Would you mind ordering some packages for me? And he said, sure, honey. And he did.
And he did that. And at the time that you were your normal.
Isn't this a clever story? So this is a story. So if she were buying off people in prison, this would be an easy way to do it, right? Buy them packages, find out what they wanted. But now she's using this story to try to get herself bail so she can go home and be free on the outside before prison, that she can't stay in prison. It can't accommodate her. But this is what I think was when she was this right. It's like right around the time that these stories came out. So right after, this was like her second. This is like the hearing before this was all about the snitches. So I think she was looking around in her art class, clearly, for prison snitches. And unfortunately, one became, Drina Bernhardt became a informant for the state, sounds like. But isn't it just clever, right? You have to give her points for being clever. So why is Donna Adelson ordering all these packages all of a sudden? And apparently the FBI got involved and investigated this whole operation to get favorable witnesses for her trial through Harvey and her lawyers. So she would, I guess, talk to her lawyers and have Harvey on the phone in a three-way, I assume. Maybe we'll find out at trial exactly how it was done. Pretty interesting.
Normal canteen or commissary would be delivered. Is that when the extra packages would be delivered as well?
Yes, all at the same time.
Okay, and in the course of things, you would go pick up your canteen and then her extra packages. Is that right?
Yes.
And where did you keep her items when you got back to the annex?
So it was, you have to carry your bin up, and they put the package, they open up a plastic bag and they loosely put all the stuff in the bin. So it was all in a bin that I would take back and put under my bed.
Okay, and did you keep her eye care packages separated from your canteen?
Yes.
Okay, and how is it that she would receive her packages? How did she get the
So
food?
she would send, I used to say her minions, she used to pick different girls to come over to me, and they would say, package up 4 soups and 3 bags of chips. And the first time
I think this is how she was getting favors done for her in the jail. I do. And besides looking for prison snitches, I think this is how she stayed safe in prison. I don't think she was attacked. I think she was a favorite because she always had soups and whatever else anybody wanted. And she probably was very generous with them to keep herself popular in jail.
I don't know what she wanted me to do, and she said it's for, and she mentioned her name. And I said, well, how am I supposed to do that? She said, just put it in your shirt. I'll meet you in the bathroom.
I think this is the part that I believe. This to me seems like a real memory. This part. I don't believe she was attacked. I don't believe that apart, at least not the way she describes it. If you want to keep the teeth in your pretty little mouth, I mean, it couldn't be any weirder, bad dialogue than if you want to keep the fancy teeth in your fancy mouth. So this part, to me, it sounds true. It sounds like a real experience. She put them in her shirt. She met him in the bathroom. To me, this seems like something that would have been possible. I was asking Patty from Patty's Playhouse if she worked in Leon County, if this could be done. She said it could.
So I would load these things in the top of my shirt, and I would hold the bottom of my shirt like this so that nothing would fall out. And I'd go to the bathroom, and then somebody would follow me in there, and she would take it out, transfer it into her shirt, and walk away.
And that continued from the time that she first yanked your arm behind your back in October all the way until you were put into protective custody. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. When you got into protective custody, in fact, did you receive your last packages for her?
So the last package came, I was put into protective custody on a Monday, and Tuesday, the commissary came with those packages and brought them to me.
Okay. And do you have that extra food in your protective custody room now?
They're sitting there. I don't eat that stuff, so it's all sitting on top of my bunk.
It's made up of noodles and chips and things of that nature. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. I want to talk briefly about your time in protective custody. How big is the room that you're in?
6x9.
Okay, and are you in this room by yourself?
Yes,
And is the door, with the exception of when they allow you to come out, is the door kept closed all of the time?
I think Donna has some chips. I do. I can see Donna eating some chips. I don't know about the cup of noodle soups, but to me, Donna seems like she would eat some chips.
it's supposed to be kept closed.
Okay, all right, and you're given, I'm kind of leading here, Judge, to try and get us through this, but you're allowed to come out of that room 1 hour per day on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, is that correct?
That's correct.
And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, you get to come out for 20 minutes, is that
20
right?
minutes.
Okay, and on the weekends, you don't get to come
Not
out?
at all.
Okay, make sure you don't talk over me, okay?
I'm sorry.
That's okay, we're talking over each other.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So Saturday and Sunday, you don't come out at all. During your hour, 3 days a week, and your 20 minutes, 2 days a week, is that when you are given the opportunity to take a shower?
Yes.
If you have time to walk, that's when you walk?
So on an hour day, I'll walk for 40 minutes or about, and then I'll take my shower at the end of that, so I get my shower in.
Okay, and laundry also, that's what you use that
All
time
of that,
for?
yes.
Other than that, you're locked inside that room?
Yes, I am.
Okay, now, it was your understanding when you were put into protective custody that there's not ever supposed to be anybody out around you, is that right?
That's what I was told.
Okay, but protective custody is actually attached to a pod, is it not?
Yes.
And what pod is that?
M-Pod, like Mary.
Okay. At some point, did you learn that this individual who attacked you was also, at least for some period of time, in that same area?
I'm not sure where she was. She might have been.
Okay.
I didn't see her.
You didn't see her?
I
Okay.
heard that she was there, but I didn't see her.
Okay. Now, you have testified earlier that different guards have kind of different rules that they follow inside the jail. Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say.
Okay. During the time that you've been in protective custody, when you were told you should not be around anyone else in the pod or otherwise, have there been times when guards would have you around other inmates?
Yes.
Okay. In fact, was there an occasion where another girl came and knocked on your door wanting you to give her food?
Mhm. Yes.
Yes, okay. And what happened when you said you would give her food?
I said, I have all that extra food. I don't mind giving it to people. So-
Okay. And so how were you going to give it to her?
Well, that's what I said to her. How am I going to get?
Right. So how many get you this bribe? I think it's bribes. Donna's not dumb. You don't do these things. And I don't take pleasure in Donna suffering in jail. It's just, maybe she should have thought about this before she decided to to kill Dan Markel. This is a very slight suffering to what the Markel family has gone through. The life sentence of grief she's given them. So,
Get this to you. And so she gave the guard a high sign.
oh, the breathing. Did you notice the trembling is gone now? The breathing is totally normalized now. You notice that?
And the guard buzzed the door open, and it was her and a friend of hers, the two of them, and they'd only stepped in my room like a foot, came in, and I gave them some soups.
Okay. Is that the only time that you've been around other people since you've been put in protective custody, or have there been other
There have been other
situations?
times, like yesterday, the officer buzzed my door, so I guess there was something she wanted me to do, so I opened my door, and I came out, and there were maybe, I don't know, half a dozen girls watching TV. I walked past them, and I asked the officer, "What did you want?" And she said, "Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Adelson, I didn't mean to buzz you. Just go back to your room." I said, "Okay." So
Okay.
I turned around and went back.
Okay. We have to move along a little bit faster here. So one of the things that's been a big issue for you is lack of sleep. So we're going to just kind of go through this.
She's not sleeping well in jail, guys. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? She's not sleeping well in jail. Although you hear these comments made by Charlie Adelson's ex-girlfriend, testified and said that Donna Adelson said that she feels that she's being haunted by the ghost of Dan Markel, and this is when she was out and before she or Charlie, I believe, got right on that, before she and Charlie got arrested definitely before Donna got arrested, but I think before Charlie got arrested. She said, I feel like I'm being haunted by the ghost of Dan Markel. Her stomach was always upset. This is a family of weak stomachs. So when you see her, when she finally gets arrested in the airport, she was so close. I mean, she's on the jetway. She's about to board the plane. Has her ticket in her hand. I mean, I think it's just so close to getting to her ticket to freedom. It would have been very hard, not impossible, but very hard to extradite her from Vietnam had she gotten on that plane. And when they heard that she was doing that, she was talking about ending it all or doing this. So they decided to do this. Flee to Vietnam. Leave permanently, her and Harvey. But when she's actually either from substances that she took to get on the plane or just the relief of finally the thing that she was dreading her whole life actually happening, you see she's pretty calm after she gets arrested. It's like, you caught me. Doesn't scream innocent person. Certainly doesn't. I'm curious how George is going to play that in court.
This quickly for the.
I mean, she protests. This is crazy. You can't do this. Give my husband, he's 80 years old. How is he going to go home? And then I think either she thought she was going to get bail, or I think she thought she was going to get bail and get right out. But also, it finally happened. She could deal with it. So she's very calm. Apparently, she's a wreck for years and years and years and years. You can hear it in the bump. And very much like Crime and Punishment. It's not like it weighed on her conscience. She was worried about herself and her family.
Court, but you testified previously that the nighttime medications come between 11:30 p.m. and 1:30 or 2 a.m. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And part of the nighttime medications that you get, is there something in there to assist you to go to sleep?
Yes.
Okay. And then you get the medication. About how long after that is it before you can go to sleep?
From the time I get it, probably a half hour.
Okay. All right. And what time are you woken up for breakfast?
Between 3 and 3:30. Last night was 3:10. Just within that.
Apparently, she did the same thing. So when she got to the new prison, when she got into custody, she stripped off naked and walked around. And apparently, she did this in Waukella too. When she got to the new prison, to the new jail. She stripped off and was acting loony. Keyword is acting. I guess that's her way to. I guess if you think about it, it's the only weapon that you have is your behavior and your nudity. I think it's a way to get control of this situation. It's really like flashing. It's like, showing people what they don't want to say. But so she's done that in both jails now.
That half hour range is when it comes.
Okay. And once you're woken up for breakfast, are you capable of going back to sleep?
No.
Have you tried to go back to sleep?
Oh my God. Yes, I try.
So that block of time that you get from the time you fall asleep after your night meds until you're woken up for breakfast, that's the only sleep that you're getting while you're incarcerated?
That's it.
How is that?
All right. So I'm gonna leave it there. She has terrible sleep. Her back hurts. She's gained weight. The food is terrible. They don't get enough exercise. I mean, they've accommodated her so many different ways. She has her own special mattress for her back. I mean, good luck in other jails getting that kind of treatment. Leon County really accommodated her. So I'm going to just keep on this. There's a lot also to talk about with Robert's deposition has been leaked, parts of that, and talk about that coming up. I'm just shocked. So just to sum up everything that we know. So what we thought we knew at this time was we thought when all this stuff came out, when Donna was testifying, that she had 2 prison snitches that had heard Catherine Magbanua. I mean, look how different. What a difference. Look at her there. I mean, I know that's years, but even if you look at pictures of her previous, here's a young Donna. It's a photo someone sent to me from her yearbook. But she really does have that very criminal look now, the puffy, gray, hardened, her face is hardened look. So when these prison snitches came out, we thought Donna's probably paid them to say this about testify. Of course, what she wanted was she wanted to preserve their testimony, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But she wanted to somehow keep track of them. She was afraid that they would lose track of them and they wouldn't be available to testify for her. So I'm talking about Cassidy Conroy and Brittany Purcell. There's Brittany. And we thought at the time that those statements had to be paid for because we know that, and that also what we learned is that Donna, because we know that Catherine Magbanua did not set up the Adelson family. Yes, she did this. She became the middle woman for money and whatever other benefits, but so she didn't have to set them up. And she got her baby daddy, Sigfredo Garcia, to do this with his pal, Luis Rivera, who got the best deal, who became state's witness first, made a deal with the state, and let out the whole plot that it came from Wendy and Donna, that it was done for Wendy and Donna because of their kids. This was over custody. And he spilled the beans. But we knew at the time that those two had to be paid for. So it's interesting now that we have a prison snitch. It's all backfired on Donna. It's going to make her look even guiltier at trial. There are wiretaps with Harvey. It could be Harvey and Drina, or Drina on the outside and Donna. But they were tapping her. They got a warrant to tap her phones. It sounds through her lawyers because they were very suspecting shenanigans. And as soon as these statements came out, Georgia Kappelman is one smart cookie. She got on it, and the FBI has been such a great help in this case. So that's what we know about it. It just gets more fascinating and more fascinating. Also what's out, I can go over in another episode. The evidence list is out and the witness list is out, I believe. Those things. So all this is leading to the August 16th, I believe, trial, mid-August trial of Donna Adelson. So stay tuned. I'll be covering it here. Please like this episode, subscribe, share this episode, and I'll be back with more true crime reporting soon. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for listening.
What a stitch you're in. You plotted a murder 'cause you wanted to raise your daughter's kid. Tallahassee is just a stop on the way to civilization. Miami is where all the fancy people are. The TV is a Power 5. You can't get away from that. Two-toe, tay-toe, hoo-ho, you know the guy you paid, and you can't get away from that. Oh, Donna, what a stitch you're in. You thought jail was just for the little people, but now you're so blankets with the locked up crew. You're a grandmother in lockdown, and your one-way ride to freedom you blew. Oh, Donna, what a stitch you're in. Your family are exiled from the social circles you swam in. We all know you never made that banana bread or offered to babysit for Dan, but you'll